Hello everyone, I am Tazeen and welcome back. So, what would you do if your spouse insisted they were faithful but every single thing they did made it look like they are hiding an affair? I am 39 years old woman and my husband is 40. We have been together for years and like every married couple, we had our ups and downs. One thing about my husband though has always stayed the same. Whenever he discovers a new hobby, it completely takes over his life. One year it's photography, the second year it's cycling, then it's woodworking. Whatever the hobby is, it becomes his entire personality. So when he announced he wanted to start a running with a local running club, I honestly was not worried. I actually thought it would be good for him. The group was not even competitive. It was just a casual running club for slower runners. He seemed happier, healthier, more energetic. I supported him completely. At first, it seemed harmless. He had go out 1 or 2 evenings a week. Then weekends become long run days, 5 hours, 6 hours, sometimes even 7. I figured that was just what runners did. I never questioned it. But over the following months, something slowly started changing. He was gone more often. Every weekend seemed booked. Every evening there was another run. Meanwhile, the kids and I barely saw him. I kept telling myself I was overthinking. It's just his hobby. He will calm down eventually, but he never did. Instant running seemed to become more important than everything else, including us. I even tried to embrace it. One weekend, I suggested we all go to local tour as a family. I said you can run to the top while me and kids walk. I thought it was the perfect compromise. He had get his run and the kids would get a fun day out. And we would finally spend some time together. Instead of saying yes, he gave me one of those non-committal answers. Maybe we will see, I will let you know. The trip never happened. At the time, I thought he simply was not interested. Looking back now, I think there were another reason. Because only 1 week later, everything changed. 1 week after that conversation, the running group uploaded photos from one of their weekend's event. Normally, I would not have paid much attention. I was just scrolling through the pictures, looking to see if my husband was having fun. Then I saw it. There he was, standing at the top of the tour. That's the place I had suggested we visit as a family. Only he was not with us. He was with a woman from a running club. I will call her Jemima. What really caught my attention was not just the location, it was the picture itself. My husband hates taking pictures. Seriously, I had to practically beg him for photos on the vacations, birthdays, anniversaries, even Christmas. Here he was, smiling for a picture with Jemima at the exact place he had refused to go with me and kids. That hurts. Maybe more than it should have, but I tried to ignore it. I kept telling myself they are just friends. You are reading too much into it. Still, that uncomfortable feeling in my stomach would not go away. As the weeks passed, things became even stranger. His weekend runs slowly stopped being group runs. Instead, they became long runs with just two of them. 7 hours together, sometimes longer. He had spent ages preparing for these trips, packing snacks, buying supplies, planning routes. And I could not help noticing something. This was the same man who rarely planned anything for our family. If we went on a day out, I was always the one packing food, remembering sunscreen, bringing drinks, making sure the kids had everything. But suddenly, for Jemima, he had all the time in the world. Eventually, I could not keep pretending everything was normal, so I sat him down. I stayed calm. I was not accusing him of cheating. I simply asked for one thing. If you are running alone with Jemima, just please tell me. That's it. I did not tell him to stop. I did not make demands. I just wanted honesty. He added, and at least he acted like he understood. But then a few days later, he disappeared on another 7 hours run. When he got home, I casually asked, "So who went today? Who went today?" He hesitated, then admitted it was just me and Jemima. Again, he had not told me, even after promising he would. That's when something inside me broke. It was not about Jemima anymore. It was about the fact that every reasonable boundary I tried to set was simply ignored. I felt invisible, like my feelings did not matter at all. So, for the first time in our marriage, I asked him to leave the house. And instead of apologizing, he walked out, leaving me sitting here wondering if I was losing my mind or if my husband was slowly choosing someone else over his own family. After asking him to leave, I honestly hoped it would be a wake up call. I was not trying to end our marriage. I wanted him to understand how hurt I was, how ignored I felt. Instead, he acted as though I was simply overreacting. A few days later, we agreed to meet and talk things through. I thought we would sit down, focus on our marriage, and maybe finally clear the air. But before meeting me, he went to the running club again. That stung. Maybe it sounds petty, but when your marriage is hanging by a thread, you did not expect your spouse to prioritize another evening with friends over trying to save the relationship. By the point, I was not sleeping properly. Every notification made my heart race. Every time he looked at his phone, I wondered who he was talking to. I hated feeling like this. I had never been the jealous type. But he had slowly turned me into someone I did not recognize. Then something unexpected happened. He injured his ankle during one of his runs, bad enough that he had to use crutches. Ironically, that injury gave me some hope. I thought, well, at least the running will stop. Maybe now we will actually have time to work on us. And to be fair, we were communicating more. Things were not fixed, but at least we were talking. Then one evening, my stepdaughter quietly came into the room. She looked uncomfortable, almost guilty. She asked if she could tell me something. I said yes. She explained that while my husband was recovering, I had called him one day. She happened to answer his phone because he could not reach it quickly on his crutches. When she picked it up, the screen was already open. And that's when she accidentally saw the messages between my husband and Jemima. She did not read what they said. She was not snooping. But the one thing stood out immediately. There were so many messages, pages after pages, conversation after conversation, constant communication. She looked at me and quietly said, "They message a lot." My stomach dropped. Because up until then, I could still tell myself maybe they were just running partners. But why they are talking all day, every day? Why did they need that much contact? I confronted my husband. He insisted it was innocent. He said they were just friends, just talking about running, nothing more. He even agreed that we should start couple therapy. We booked our first session for after an upcoming family holiday. I wanted to believe him. I really did, but trust once it's broken is incredibly difficult to rebuild. Still, I decided to take the children on the holiday without him. I needed space. The kids deserved a break from all the tension. My mom came with us instant. As I packed the car, I kept hoping that maybe, just maybe, when I came home, things would finally started getting better. I had no idea. The biggest battle was still waiting for me. While I was on the holiday with the kids, we still texted each other, mostly about the children, occasionally about us. The conversations were polite, even hopeful. It felt like we were taking small steps toward fixing our marriage. Then something strange happened. My son uses one of my husband's old phone as a tablet. Because of that, our cloud accounts are still linked. Things like photos, location, and sometimes messages can accidentally come between devices. Normally, I don't even notice, but one afternoon, a notification popped up. It showed that my husband had booked the day off work. I thought that was odd because we had been messaging all morning and he had never mentioned taking leave. It was not proof of anything, just another tiny detail that did not make sense. Then curiosity got the better of me. I decided to call him. His phone went straight to voicemail. Turned off. That immediately felt wrong. My husband almost never switched his phone off, especially when the kids were away with me. But here's the thing, even if your phone is switched off, your last known location does not always disappear immediately. So I checked and my heart sank. He was not at home, he was not at work, he was at Dartmoor, the exact place where he had often gone running. I just stared at the screen trying to convince myself there had to be a reasonable explanation. Maybe he went for a walk, maybe he needed time to think, maybe. But before I could talk myself out of it, another piece of information landed in my lap. Someone who knew both of them happened to see Jemima's van. They watched her pull up near the end of my road. My husband got out of the passenger side, not outside our house, at the end of the street, far enough away that our ring doorbell would not capture him arriving. That detail hit me harder than anything else because if there was nothing to hide, why not let her drop him off at the front door? Why avoid the camera? It felt deliberate, calculated, like they knew exactly what they are doing. I was still trying to process that when the final blow came. Later that day, a new photo automatically appeared in our cloud album. It was my husband relaxing in the bath, a picture he had taken himself. I remember staring at it, thinking, why would you take this? Or more importantly, who was it actually meant for? He insisted later that it was automatically comes between devices. Maybe it had not. But after months of secrecy, private messages, hidden trips, and being dropped off where the ring camera could not see, that bath photo did not feel innocent anymore. When I confronted him, he looked at me in the eyes and said, "I have never cheated on you, I promise." But by then, I did not know what to believe anymore. I asked him one final time, "Please just tell me the truth. Were you having an affair with Jemima?" He looked straight at me and without hesitating said, "No, I have never cheated on you." According to him, everything had an innocent explanation. The constant messages, they were just talking about running. The 7 hour runs, they simply enjoy the same pace. A trip to Dartmoor, just another hike. Getting dropped off at the end of the road, he claimed he did not want to make the neighbors or wake the neighbors in to make a fuss. And the bath photo, he insisted he had taken it for himself after his injured nickel was bothering him and it was automatically shared in cloud. Every single thing on its own could have an explanation, but together it painted a picture that was almost impossible to ignore. That was the hardest part. I actually never found proof that he had slept with her. No romantic messages, no conversation, no photo of them kissing, nothing definitive. But an endless trail of lies, half truths, hidden meetings, broken promises, and secrecy. To me, that was enough. Because whether he had physically cheated or not, he had already broken my trust. He had ignored every boundary I tried to set. He had continued spending the entire day alone with another woman. He had hidden it from me. He had prioritized running with her over repairing our marriage. And even while I was away trying to give our children a peaceful holiday, he secretly met her again. Maybe they never crossed the line physically, but maybe they did. At that point, I realized something important. I did not actually need proof of an affair anymore. The marriage could not survive without trust, and mine was gone. When I shared my story online, the overwhelming majority of the people agreed. Most commenters said this looked at the very least like an emotional affair. They pointed out that even if nothing physical ever happened, he was investing his time, his attention, his emotional energy into another woman instead of his wife. Others said the biggest issue was not even Jemima, it was the lying, the secrecy, the broken promises, the fact that every time I communicated my feelings, he dismissed them and carried on anyway. A few people believe he might genuinely have been telling the truth, that perhaps he was simply naive about boundaries, but even those people admitted a married man should not be spending 7 hours solo outing with another woman, hiding them and then expecting his wife not to become suspicious. Looking back now, I still don't know whether he ever physically cheated. Maybe I never will. But one thing I do now: healthy marriages don't require detective work. If your partner's behavior constantly makes you question reality, something is already seriously wrong. So was I wrong for asking my husband to leave, or was my gut trying to warn me all along? AITA, what do you think? Was this just an innocent friendship that got completely out of hand, or do you think this was an emotional or even physical affair? Let me know your verdict down in the comments, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye, tata.